Hi everyone, this is a different kind of video. Today I just want to talk about some study tips. Now these study tips would be relevant if you are studying for SEA exams, if you are preparing for end of term tests, or even if you are preparing for CXCs, CSEC, A-levels, basically any level of school that you are at, these study tips would be able to help you. Now, studying is very, very unique to each person. So the trick is to find out what really works for you and to be able to get into a routine and find a way to create studying habits that will help you get where you need to be. So first thing to do is time for a little bit of introspection to really ask yourself some questions and determine what it is you need to have a better understanding of what helps you study the most. So one of the first things to ask yourself is, are you naturally more alert or more focused at a particular time of day? Do you find that, when you wake up in the morning, that's when you feel more focused, or are you more of a nighttime person where you find that you concentrate a little bit better in the night? Which one are you? Next question is, are you more alert or more focused after doing something specific? Like, let's say after you take a shower, then you feel more ready to do your homework. Or if you exercise and then after you exercise, then you feel like you could focus. If after you eat, you feel like you can focus. So think about if you do something first, if you feel more focused afterwards. Next one is, where are you studying? Do you get distracted by all of the things around you? Is there one particular place that you feel when you are doing your work in that place, you feel like you can focus a little bit better? So think about that. Next one, are you hungry or thirsty when it's time to study? Are you getting enough nutrients from your food throughout the day? Yes, you might be eating a lot, but are you eating the right things that fuel you properly? Are you drinking enough water? That's another question that's very important, especially now that everyone's at home. Sometimes it's easy to forget to remember to drink water all the time, but that's something that can greatly affect your studying chances. Next one, are you getting enough sleep? This is a big question. I know many of you are not sleeping as much as you should, but do you feel like you're getting enough, or do you feel like you are constantly tired throughout the day? These are things that will affect how you retain the information. Are you feeling unnaturally anxious about your upcoming exam? I mean, for some people, yes, it's totally okay to feel nervous with whatever exam you have coming up, that's fine. But is it really taking a toll on your mental health? Is it affecting your ability to study? Do you find that anytime you have to do your work, you're getting overwhelmed by thinking about, all the unknowns that's making it hard for you to study? Are you exercising enough? I mean, if all you're doing is studying and you're not finding time to exercise or find other outlets to relax and to play, it might affect how well you study because, your body is just not getting that chance to move. And finally, how best do you retain and remember the information that you're being taught? Does it help you to use highlighters and go over work with highlighters? Does it help you to talk it out? Do you prefer to write things down? Do you prefer having flashcards? Do you prefer having it recorded and listening to you? What is the learning style that works for you? Now, some of these things for some of you or your parents might have to help you figure this part out, but that's okay. But the main thing is that by going through those 10 questions, you might be able to get a better understanding of what really helps you to study and what are your study preferences. And based on those things, some things might be very easy to fix. Like if you find you're not drinking enough water, that's something that can be easy to fix. You just set a time or drink some more water throughout the day. Other things might take a little bit more time, maybe some trial and error to figure out what is going to work for you. Because some things you might have to try it and then decide if you like it or not and try something else. Nevertheless, here are some things that you can try, some suggestions that you can try and see what will help you and what might work for you. First, I'm going to talk about some general study tips. So these things can be used for anybody. Is not specific to, any certain type of things. One, study in an area that's used for that purpose only. So try not to study on your bed where you're accustomed going to sleep, because if you do that, then you might be more likely to just want to lie down and sleep there. Similarly, try not to study, in the TV area if there's TV blasting where you might get distracted. Number two, think about the times of the day that you're most productive and most focused, and set aside that time regularly to study. So if you know early in the morning before people wake up, that's your time, then set aside that time as your study time. And also use that time for some of the harder things that you have to do when you know you're going to be more focused. And then for other times of the day when you have to study, you can use those for some of the easier things that you have to get out of the way that maybe you don't need to put as much focus on. Number three, move around while studying. So while you're studying, when it's just you studying alone, you can stand up, walk around the room with your notes, walk around the room talking. You can march on the spot. You can do push-ups while you're revising your notes. Just do something to move. And by doing that, two things. One, it's going to help your body because your body needs movement. And two, you can also create a new way to learn. So for example, if you make up a dance to go with a particular topic, when you get to the exam and that topic comes up, you might remember the dance, and then that will trigger whatever the thing is that you need to remember. Number four. Yeah, this is number four. Make associations between your work and something that you will remember. So you can make up a song about something. You can make up a dance to go with a topic. You can turn a topic into a comic book or a movie script or story or something that will make that connection, so that the thing that you're learning becomes less of a chore or less of a task, and you can remember it a lot better. Next one is use active reading techniques. And this means that before you read, if you have a chapter of a book to read the headings first so that you can understand what it is you're going to read about. Then skim the chapter to see what comes next. Take some notes while you're reading and make up questions using those chapter headings. Then you can practice answering the questions while you're reading it and review all the points. So this means that you're reading, yes, but you're getting a better understanding of your reading, of what you're reading. And by making up the questions and answering the questions, you are showing yourself and telling yourself that you truly understand all of the things that you're reading. Next point is decide how you prefer to study. So do you prefer to set aside a big chunk of time to just get everything done in one go? Or do you prefer to break it up into smaller pieces and say, well, okay, in the morning before school, I'm going to do this much. I'm going to do a little bit and then take a break. Figure out what works for you and what you can manage with your day. And finally, aim to understand the work more than just memorizing it. Yes, you might be able to remember a whole list of facts and everything, but when you truly understand what it is you're studying, it is going to stick a little bit better. So next we're going to go on to some other ways to stay focused. some more, practical things that you can do to help focus. So these are the self-regulation techniques to help you stay focused no matter your age. First one, like I mentioned before, is movement. Movement really helps you to stay alert and helps you to stay focused. That's why sometimes people fidget. That's why sometimes, people use their hands to talk. That's why sometimes you might have your pencil going like this, because those are things that your body needs to do to help you to stay focused, to stay alert, and just to stay calm. So you can pace around your room, you can do exercises in between your different activities. Let's say you have some math to do. You could say, well, all right, I'm gonna do 10 sums and then I'm gonna do 5 push-ups. And by doing that, you find little ways to keep your body active. Next, have some water or something to drink, or something to munch on that's healthy. In general, cold drinks like cold ice water, those things help to keep you alert. They help to wake you up a little bit. But especially if it's water, just kind of be mindful of the time of the night. You don't want to go to sleep with a full bladder. Having crunchy or chewy foods to snack on, that helps you to focus. So if you're old enough and if you like it, you can have gum, you can have some crackers to munch on. Those are things that are, just gonna pick you up a little bit and help to keep you focused for a little bit longer. Next, for some people, having a fidget or having something in your hand that you can absent-mindedly play with or just hold, that is something that helps a lot of people to focus. Anything could be a fidget. It can be an eraser, it can be a pencil, a random piece of string, or something that we all know like a stress ball. Now, the main thing is that whatever you choose to be a fidget has to be something that you can just hold on or have in your hands, but it's not something that should distract you. So you should be able to continue doing your work and have this fidget in your hand and not have to be looking at the fidget or playing with the fidget. And not everybody is going to need a fidget. It's only if you feel that you feel like when you have something in your hand, it helps you to focus. That's when you know a fidget will be useful for you. Next up, consider having music on in the background or listening to it through headphones, but only music that will help you stay focused. You don't want to have, your favorite songs and your favorite jams and you're listening to it and, singing and you're not focusing on your work. So in general, calming music or mellow sounds without words can help you to stay focused in general. Some people might not like this. And for some, they might prefer a quiet environment. So some people don't like noise at all. So you can consider having some earplugs or having those foam earplugs that you can squeeze to mold to your ears. That might help to block out some of the noise. Next, you can aim to take breaks. So about maybe every 15 to 20 minutes, depending on your preferences, set yourself a break. And that break should be really short. So a minute or two, no more than that. The break is just to be able to stretch your legs, move around, drink some water, go to the bathroom if you need to, and come back. So it should not be anything drawn out because you don't want to take too long of a break and then don't want to come back to study afterwards. Or you can also do it where you take a break between each subject or between each page, or set yourself a certain amount of time that you're going to stop at and then take your break. And finally, for the sensory part of it, check the lighting in the room. Do you prefer really bright lights, or do you prefer soft light or natural light? Sometimes the lighting can affect how focused you feel. So if you feel like the light is kind of dim and you're feeling sleepy, you might want to make those lights a little bit brighter so that it works for you. Next thing is organization. This is a really big topic and it is going to significantly help how you study. So under organization, the first thing is to keep your study area tidy and free of distractions. So remember I said before, you want to study in a particular area that's not used for anything else. So whatever area that is, just keep it tidy and try not to have too many other things around that will distract you. So it shouldn't be an area that has a TV that's right there. And it should be a space that is tidy, doesn't have a lot of clutter, doesn't have a lot of paper all over the place. Secondly, keep your work as organized as possible. Use folders, use different sections. You can use even Ziploc bags or plastic bags to keep your things in, just to keep them separate and so that you'll have easy access to them when you need it. Keeping organized is really key to keeping your mind sharp and focused. Next, make a checklist of what you need to do and keep it visible. You can use a whiteboard, you can use a piece of paper, whatever you need to do. If you need pictures, you can do that. But keep that checklist of, all right, I have my math, I have 5 sums in math to do, I have 1 essay to write, I have this chemistry project to finish. Keep that checklist and make sure that it's stuck up somewhere where you can see it. And that checklist can be things that you have to do every day, or the checklist can be things that you need to get through for the week. Whichever one works for you, make sure that it's somewhere where you can see it to keep yourself accountable. Next, you can break up the work into smaller chunks. If you know you have 30 math sums to do and it seems like a lot, break it up into groups of 10 and say, well, okay, I'm going to do 10 now and then take a break. Maybe you might go and do another subject and come back, or maybe you might stick to the next 10 and the next 10. Whatever works for you, but break it up so that it's more manageable for you to do. And with that in mind, don't wait until the last minute. So do a little bit at a time. If you have those same 30 math sums and you keep putting it off and saying, nah, I'm not doing that, I'll do that later, what happens is that you might end up the night before it's due with 30 math sums to do and feel very overwhelmed. So break it up into chunks, but don't wait until last minute to do it all. Next is set aside more time for studying than you think you will need. So if you think you're going to need 10 minutes to finish this work, put aside 20, because you don't know how much time you're going to need to do one sum. You don't know if you might, get stuck. You don't know if you might need to take a break and come back. And what you don't want is to start to feel anxious because time is running out and you're still not finished. So give yourself a break and give yourself more time than you think you need to get through your work. Next is use different colors for pens, for highlighters. Sometimes making your work look pretty, it helps because you actually see it differently, and it becomes like seeing something new and exciting every time you look at it. But it also makes the work a little more exciting to do. So you can use different color pens, use different color highlighters for your work. That helps with the organization as well. And finally, if you like to write work over, or depending on how you like to have your work presented, you can organize it by using different headings, by using bullet points, by using labels, drawings. Just organize it in different ways so it's not just a big running paragraph that you then have to read through. It's much, much easier for your brain to retain and accept information if it's presented short and to the point. All right, now let's look at time management, because I know especially now that some of you might already be in exams or about to start exams, time management from now on with your study time is going to be even more important, more than it has been before. So for time management, what I said just now about making that checklist, you can make your checklist or make your to-do list from the night before so that you wake up and you already know what you have to do that day. So the night before, at some point, say, well, okay, I still have to finish my maths homework. I still have to do these English words. I still have to do this. Just write it down so that or put it in your phone or whatever you have to do. So the next day when you wake up, you already see everything you have to do, and then you can start getting it done one time. Next, prioritize the important or the difficult things. Don't keep putting those off. So all of the harder things, aim to get those done sooner. And then you have the easier things that will take quicker. That will take a shorter time, sorry. Next, use timers, alarms, use your watch, use your phone. Not your phone all the time, but only use your phone if you're using the alarm, just to stay on track. So for example, if you are aiming to take a break maybe every 10 minutes, set a timer for every 10 minutes or every 15 minutes. So when that timer goes off, you can take a little break. Next, you can organize your day into chunks. So throughout your day, you have 24 hours, but you're not going to use that whole 24 hours to study, right? So for that 24 hours, you know, at a certain time of the morning when you wake up, you have a chunk of that time is, you know, getting ready, getting breakfast, just starting your day. And then you have a chunk of time for school. You have a chunk of time to relax, to play, to just do whatever you want to do. You have a chunk of time to study, and then you have a chunk of time to get ready for bed. And then, of course, a chunk of time to sleep. So organize your day into all of these little chunks based on the things that you know you have to do, and try to stick to that. So if your study time, the time that you think you focus the best, is from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock on an evening, try to keep that time for your study time. And don't say, well, I feel like I'll just play my games now. You know, I'll just play my games at this time, and then tomorrow I'll go back to studying. No, try to be consistent with it and keep those chunks of time to what you need to keep them for. But also with that, try not to do more than you can manage. If you know that when you play in your games, if you have a chunk of time for 10 minutes and you know you are not going to take 10 minutes to play a game and you want half an hour, just be honest with yourself and make sure that no matter how much time you put to something, it's something that's manageable for you and doesn't take away from doing other things that you need to do. Next, use a planner that works for you. Now, this can be as simple as writing things down on Post-its, all the things you have to do. Put it on a little piece of paper and stick it up on the wall. Put it on a Post-it. Some people use Google Calendar. Some people use actual planner notebooks. Whatever is going to work for you, whether it's writing it down, putting it on different color Post-its, putting it on a whiteboard, do that. Next, put your phone away and put it on silent, unless you're using it for an alarm. But even if you are using it for an alarm, put the alarm on and then hide the phone from view, because you don't need to see it while you're doing your work. Next, if you're not finished with something on that to-do list, don't worry about it. You know, if you didn't get it done today, add it to the next day's list. But again, try not to keep putting off things that might be priority, and try not to keep putting off things too much. So if you find you're going a couple of days and you have this one thing that keeps getting rolled over, try to focus on that thing first on the third day so that you can get it done and remove it from your to-do list completely. And finally, be realistic about what you can accomplish each day and give yourself some grace. So, I mean, just kind of think about in bigger picture of how far you have come to be where you are right now. You are doing the absolute best that you can, and now is a difficult time for everybody. So just think that you have done so much work to get you to this point, and you have so much knowledge already that everything that you're doing right now is the icing on the cake. So you're doing your absolute best. Don't fret too much if, today your studying didn't go as you want to. Just pick it up again tomorrow. No matter what, you are doing the best that you can do under the given circumstances. And don't forget all of your little accomplishments along the way. Don't forget to be proud of those too. All right, so I hope that these study tips will help you. I hope that you'll be able to take some things away from it and use it to help in the preparation for your exams. So be good, keep studying hard, but make it work in a way that works for you. All right, bye.